हेलो फ्रेंड्स, केजी क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम आपको शॉर्ट आंसर बताएंगे। क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट, राइट ए शॉर्ट नोट ऑन चौसर द पोएट। आंसर, चौसर हैज़ बीन कॉल्ड द फादर ऑफ इंग्लिश पोएट्री। ही सेट अप द स्टैंडर्ड इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज। ही वाज द फर्स्ट टू टीच द आर्ट ऑफ versification. He breathed a cosmopolitan spirit into English literature and linked it up with the intellectual movement of the continent. He is the first English poet by reason of being the first European poet. Old English poetry, unaffected by romance of Latin elements, practically ceased to exist before the Norman conquest. French influence began to grow in importance, and a literature chivalric in tone and foreign in form began to take hold in England. Such poems as the Poema Morale, the Brut, the Morale Ode, though written in English, are French in source and inspiration. Kinghorn and Havelock the Dane, which appeared a century later, may be claimed as the works of the native English genius. Appearing at such epochs, Chaucer combines in himself the best elements of French and English culture. The foreign strain in his poetry is completely merged in the native stock. Critics have described his verse as being melodious, varied, smooth, flexible, graceful, unwearying, and even golden-tongued. Question second, write a short note on Chaucer's humor. Answer, humor is an extreme sensitiveness to the true proportion of things. The kind of humor that Chaucer and Shakespeare reveal is based on insight and sympathy. Chaucer had a deep insight and acute understanding and sympathetic outlook. Humor, fun, wit, satire, and irony are all found of Chaucer. His natural bent is towards humor. He had no intention to teach or to ridicule. He was critical but never didactic. Among writers of genius, the one who strikes us soonest as a friend is Chaucer. He comes to us with frankness and laughter as a friend. His satire is half-hearted and free from bitterness. His sly comments and parentheses show his great wit. He is the master of the art of half concealing and half revealing. A roguish, playful irony is one of his commonest weapons. Good humor is always in his hand. Chaucer is the first English humorist. He treats his fellow men with a liberal and indulgent attitude. He laughs at as he lashes. The Canterbury Tales have enough of this humorous attitude. Question third, discuss portrait gallery of the 14th century in Canterbury Tales. Answer, Chaucer's prologue is a picture gallery of the 14th century England. Here 30 pilgrims who portrait he has traced give an excellent idea of the society at the time. Except for royalty and aristocracy and the robbers and tramps or outcasts, he has painted the entire English contemporary society. The 30 pilgrims, including the host, belong to diverse professions. A Jende blade is seen in the knight and his son. They represent the bar-like elements. The learned and liberal profession are represented by the man of law, the doctor, the clerk of Oxford, and the poet. The merchants and shipmen come from the higher commercial community. The wife of Bath, an expert cloth maker, hairdresser, and his associate belonged to the class of London traders and manufacturers. The upper servants like the municipal and the reeve, and the lower servant like the yeoman and the cook represent the town and country. The monk from the monastery, the prioress and the roaming friar, the pardoner and the summoner cover all the religious order. Question next. Discuss the objective art of characterization of Chaucer. Answer. Chaucer looks at his characters objectively and delineates each of the men and women with care. He describes his characters noticing a bright detail here and there. This gives the impression of casualness, economy, significance, and variety of every detail. Chaucer does not follow any definite plan. Sometimes the visual details of dress come first. The knights gone in steel, marked by the rust and while from his armor. It is factual information, yet we learn that he has wasted no time while going on his pilgrimage. He does not worry about his outward appearance. Chaucer's method was unprecedented. The characters are consistent and they grow and develop like real living human beings. They reveal themselves by their words and actions. The best example is to be found in Master Harry Bailey. His character is gradually revealed to us in the pilgrimage in the series of traits. Chaucer's ultimate glory is not his finished craftsmanship, but the power by virtue of which he creates through speech and action living characters. Next question. Discuss Chaucer's limitation as a poet. Answer. There are certain aspects of life which Chaucer touched lightly or ignored. He was brought up as a page of court and came under the influence of gentleness of French poetry and the manner and outlook of the ruling class. He is a court poet. Something of the courtier still cling to him. He remains the poet of feudal society and sound in his poetry the voice of chivalry in its class distinction as well as its splendor. He paints the pictures of men and women of various social conditions from the knight to the miller and plowman. The portrayal is marked by breadth of observation rather than breadth of sympathy for the miseries or wrong of the poor. He paints the medieval life in its outward aspects, while Dante, revealing its soul, proves to the center. He takes the world as it is. He loves the good, but inside the evil is satire in him no feeling or of moral indignation. On the contrary, he regards grossness, vulgarity, and moral and spiritual laxity with an amused tolerance. He seems to dwell at his ease in his broad, sunshiny world of green field and merry jest. Matthew Arnold points out that Chaucer is lacking in his high seriousness, which is the supreme test of great poetry. Right question आ गया. Write a note on idea of pilgrimage. Answer. The Canterbury Tales have been woven in the framework of a pilgrimage. There has been much speculation as to what suggests to Chaucer the idea of pilgrimage. He may have been describing an actual experiences or more than one, there is no reason to believe that he resorted to any book for knowledge of the pilgrimage as an institution in the general device of a frame story or series of tales within an enclosing narrative. It is believed that he imitated Decameron of Boccaccio. However, the idea of tales within a tale was so popular and familiar that no particular model needed to be sought. The Persian tales entitled The Thousands and One Nights were so popular. Ovid's Metamorphosis, Gover's Confessio Amantis, and Chaucer's own Legend of Good Women were also already there, but Chaucer's contemporary tales have a device which was never used by any author before. The device of the pilgrimage is one of the happiest ever employed in a collection of stories. It afforded Chaucer an opportunity to bring together a representative group of various classes of society and united by the common religious purpose. क्वेश्चन है, राइट ए नोट ऑन वर्ड पिक्चर ऑफ कैंटरबरी टेल्स. Chaucer adopted the method of an artist and a portrait painter in the portrayal of his characters. He looks at his character objectively with intellect, detachment, and penetration. He describes his characters as if his eyes were wandering over them, noticing a bright detail here and there. This very impression of casualness, this economy, significance of and variety of every detail are example of that art which conceal art. His method in painting in primitive such as no artist would adopt today. Like the primitive artist, he is a little clumsy still in colors, contours, is fond of bright color and represent detail which make us smile for a time. Detail in portrait follow haphazardly, no definite pattern of description is followed. Every characters emerge step by step. Chaucer succeed in vivid presentation of his character because of his unrearing observation. He has the seeing eyes, the retentive memory, the judgment to select, and the capacity to expound. His keen observation of minutest detail of his characters enable him to present his characters in full. Objective type question. Question first. Age of Chaucer Rugly covers. Answer 14th century. Next, Chaucer was born in. Answer 1340. Next, Chaucer's father was occasionally employed on service for the king. Answer Edward III. Question. In which year was Chaucer sent to Genoa to settle a commercial treaty? Answer 1370. Fifth answer. Question. In which year was he sent on a mission to Flanders to make peace with the French king? Answer 1377. Question. In which year did he start Canterbury Tales? Answer 1373. Question. In 1380 Chaucer was elected. Answer Knight of the Shire for Kent. Question. When Richard took the government into his own hands, Chaucer was appointed. Answer Clerk of the King's Works. Question. Where did Chaucer die? Answer Westminster. Question. When did Chaucer die? Answer October 25th, 1400. Chronology of Geoffrey Chaucer. 1314 born in London. 1357 appointed a page in the household of Blanche, the Duchess of Lancaster, the wife of John of Gaunt, the third son of King Edward II. 1359, a soldier in the army of King Edward II invading France, captured by the enemy. 1360, ransomed and returned. 1366, marriage with Philippa, one of the ladies of the Queen's household. 1367, granted a pension of 20 marks a year. 1369, wrote Death of Blanche the Duchess. 1370 to 78, sent on a series of diplomatic missions to France, Flanders and Italy. 1379, began the first period of authorship, the French period of translation. 1381, a son was born. 1382, appointed controller of petty custom. 1382, the Parliament of Falls. 1385, a pilgrimage to Canterbury, his second period Italian of authorship. 1385, October 12, appointed as Justice of Peace for Rent. 1386, Trallas the Legend of Good Women. 1387, his wife Philippa died. 1389, made Commissioner of Works by Richard II. 1391, treatise on the Astrophe for his little son Lewis. 1399, took a lease of house in the garden of St. Mary Chapel, Westminster Abbey. 1400, October 25, buried near the house in Westminster Abbey. Corrected events. 1327, Edward II became the king. 1338, beginning of 100 Years' War with France. 1346, France defeated at Crécy. 1347, capture of Calais. 1348 to 49, the Black Death Plague. 1356, King of France brought as a prisoner to England by the Black Prince. 1373, Winchester College, first great public school, opened. 1377, Edward II died and Richard II became the king. Wycliffe and Lollards began Reformation in England. 1381, Peasant Rebellion began. 1399, deposition of Richard II. Bolingbroke became king as Henry IV. Thanks, best of luck.